I've spent a lot of time on this channel drawing things that make me happy, but today we're going somewhere a little darker. We're going to talk about the things that actually keep me up at night. You guys know I like to be real with you, and I think there's something really therapeutic about taking the things that scare us and putting them on paper. So, while I work on this art piece, I'm going to tell you guys the stories of how these fears started and why they still haunt me. The first fear we're tackling is one that actually started because of a specific incident when I was just a kid. I don't really talk about this, but honestly, I'm still sure I'm not over it. So, let's get into it. So, let's start with the classic. A fear that's technically, by standards, rational because, let's be real, having a piece of sharpened metal steel intentionally getting poked in your arm is not exactly a natural human experience. So we're talking about needles, or if you want to be fancy, trypanophobia. My specific brand of this phobia didn't just come from one bad experience. It was built, layer by layer, through weekly allergy shots. If you know, you know. For a huge chunk of my childhood, 6 years to be exact, I wasn't just getting the occasional flu shot. I was a regular. I had a standing appointment with a needle every single week. I remember the routine really vividly. Sitting in that cramped waiting room, staring at the same outdated magazines and posters, just waiting for my name to be called. It felt like being a character in a Groundhog Day horror movie. You'd walk in, get poked in both arms, and then the worst part, you just had to sit there for 20 minutes with ice packs on your arms just to be sure you didn't, have an allergic reaction and stop breathing. It wasn't just the sting, it was the sheer repetition of that turned my dislike of needles into a full-blown core memory of dread. What really gets me wasn't even the pinch anymore, it's the ritual. The sound of paper covering the exam table crinkling under you, the way the nurse snaps on the medical gloves. It's basically a jump scare for me now. And because it was allergy shots, I was hyper aware of my own body. I'd sit there during those 20 minutes of waiting, imagining my arms getting itchy, or more realistically, my throat closing up. For someone who already deals with sensory overload, it was a nightmare. It's that hyperfixation of a physical sensation that you can't escape. Feels invasive, like your own body is a trap and science is just poking the cage. So, if needles are a fear of what people do to you, this next one is what people think of you. We're moving from the physical fear to the psychological fear. My second biggest fear isn't just people, it's the fear of being fundamentally misunderstood. Have you ever been in a conversation where you felt like everyone else had the script except for you? Like, everyone else was reading from a script and you're just improvising. I have this one core memory from a group hangout where I made a joke, and I thought it was hilarious, but the entire room just stopped. The silence wasn't just quiet, it was heavy. In that moment, I felt like I was speaking a completely different language from everyone else. It's the instant drop in your stomach like a rock, where you feel the version of you in their heads as nothing like the person you actually are. For those of us who are neurodivergent, sphere is basically a full-time job. It's the exhaustion of masking, trying to mirror everyone else so you don't accidentally say the wrong thing. The fear is that if the mask slips, even for just a split second, I'll lose that connection. It's the terrifying thought that I'm either too much or not enough, with no middle ground in sight. You can't just walk away from a social situation the way I would look away from an allergy shot. Just stuck in it. But as loud as this fear is, there's one more that's much, much quieter. But it's the deep-rooted fear I've been avoiding for a long time. So, let's talk about the deep-rooted one. So, we've talked about the sting of a needle and the noise of a crowded room. But the final fear I want to share is one that stays quiet. It's the one that doesn't jump out at you, but instead it just waits. It's the fear of the blank space, the fear of one day waking up and finding out that the stories have finally run out. For a long time, I couldn't put a name to this. But as someone who is neurodivergent, my hyperfixations and my art are how I process the world. They're my engine. My deepest fear is that one day that engine is just going to stop. That one day I'll stare at a blank digital canvas and feel nothing. No characters, no world, no has-been insider designs, just a white screen. It's the fear of me losing that spark that makes me, well, me. I feel like a lot of creators feel this, and we don't really talk about it because it feels like a betrayal of the art. But the truth is, the more I care about this channel and this community, the scarier the idea of stagnation becomes. It's not just about the content, it's about the connection. But as time goes on, here's what I'm learning. Fear is usually just the shadow cast by the things we love. I'm only afraid that it's silence because I love the noise we make together. I'm afraid of the blank canvas because I know how much power a single line can have. The fear doesn't mean the spark is gone. It actually proves it's still burning. Because if I didn't care, I wouldn't be afraid at all. So, I'm going to keep drawing. Even when it's scary. Even when the needles are out and the room is too loud and the void feels a little too close. Because art's how we survive fear. Let's look at the final results of today's therapy session. So, there they are. My biggest fears turned into something I can actually look at. It's kind of funny. When you put them all together like this, they don't feel quite as heavy. They just look like art, which is exactly what I needed today. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who supported me, either through my Patreon or through leaving a comment or just watching a video on my channel. Reading your comments sometimes makes me feel a lot like an outcast and more like a part of this amazing family we built here. If you haven't commented, it's not too late. Tell me which of these stories resonated with you the most. If you enjoyed this deeper dive into my brain, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We do a lot of storytelling and speed paints here, and I'd love to have you along for the next one. And if you're looking for something that's a little more upbeat after this talk of fear, go check out my video on growing up neurodivergent. Hey, it's a fan favorite for a reason. Stay creative, stay brave, don't let fear control you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!